Hello there, what is going on, everybody? Something big is coming for Snapships Tactics, and if you are a fan of spaceship tabletop games and toys and where they all meet together, you are definitely going to be in for a treat with this video because we are talking about battleships, and these are the big new multi-base ships that are coming for Snapships Tactics and an upcoming Kickstarter. We have a special preview today because we're going to be looking at two of these ships. We are going to talk about the ship cards, what makes them different. If you're unfamiliar with Snapships or Snapships Tactics, don't worry. We're going to actually be putting one together. I'm going to show you what makes the whole thing work. This is going to be a very exciting video. We're going to look at what makes these guys awesome. We're going to look at some upgrade cards, the dual ship cards. We're going to be building them. Hopefully you get a lot of your questions answered in today's video. And if you have more questions, let me know down in the comments section below. We'll have some links that you can follow along for the upcoming campaign. And if you just want to learn more, we'll have links for you to check all of that stuff out. These are really cool looking ships, and they have two bases. This is just, oh man, they're massive. Look how big this is. Just like, you know, it's bigger than my whole head. This is getting big, and it's getting exciting, and I am thrilled to talk about it. So if you guys are new here to the channel, I would love for you to stick around, click that subscribe button. We talk a lot about tabletop games on this channel, and we have giveaways going on all the time. Very cool stuff. Social media links, all that stuff is down in the description below. Big thanks also to Snapships Tactics for sponsoring this video. If you want to learn more, let's jump right into it. All right, so this is our Trident ST-33 gunship, and I wanted to give you a close-up look at it because it is a beautiful ship. Now, Snapships is the toy line, Snapships Tactics is the game. If you are already a fan of Snapships, you may have already seen a ship that looks very much like this, but it's not exactly the same because this line is coming with some upgraded pieces. You're going to notice, if you look very closely, there's a couple of pieces that have upgraded paint applications, and as we look at the Scorpion, you're going to see some of the same things on that ship as well. But this is the same toy line that you know and love for the most part, but there's so many extra bits with this one that you might not have seen before. Namely, the big elephant in the room, which is the two bases here at the bottom. We're going to talk more about those in just a minute. But if you are new to this ship or new to the line, there is definitely a fun factor that goes into this ship. Again, it's not just a miniatures game. It's also just an activity that you can play with. You can have so much fun with this. Again, you've got moving pieces. The guns move. Lots of bits will move on all of the different ships. And of course, you can break them apart and rebuild them and all sorts of different configurations. More on that in just a little bit. But also the cockpits will open up. And you know, you even have articulating pilots that go in here, and so do some of the other gunner stations and things like that. We've got crew in here, right? And so you can tell stories, you can play with your kids with this, and then you can also play with your buddies when you start wargaming. So there's so much to it. Now, this is a really cool ship, but I also want to draw your attention to the stand bridge, which is this piece here that connects two different bases. Now, this is a very, very cool piece, and if you'll notice, there are multiple spots for your base extensions to go into that. So on its own, you normally have one base like this, the stand bridge. Now, this one is a prototype, but it's very similar to what you're going to get in the final product. The two bases for battleships do have to be a set distance apart for game balance. Otherwise, people could build them like super huge or not that huge, right? And so this allows them to be at a set distance, so this way your two bases will remain a fixed distance apart. However, with the multiple slots for stands, you can build your ship however you want. So in this case, we have one spot here and one spot there. And we can kind of put it this way, we can do it this way, and we have other options as well. If you wanted to design your ship to kind of be more of a custom job, that could go in a lot of different ways. And this is how you're going to move it around the board, and it's as simple as that. Now, as far as how they function, you're going to have a fore section and an aft section. We're going to talk more about the cards here in a little bit, but it is a very cool system that they have in here, in that movement and activations. You know, they're going to be almost like two separate ships. You have two different activations, with the caveat that they do share a common hull. But you're going to be firing weapons from the front section, only from the front. And when you activate the back, you'll be firing weapons from the back section, only from the back. There are passives and things like that that can share between the ship as a whole. But when you move, you can move from the front or from the back. You get to pick. The only caveat with that is if you're doing a movement action that has multiple parts, you're going to have to do all of those parts from the same base. So you can't, if you're doing like a turn and a move, you can't turn here and then move from that one, or vice versa. You'll have to do them both from the same section. But that does allow for some really cool movement capabilities within the game. Now, I want to put the other ship, and we're going to put the Scorpion together and show you how this works. So Snapships is a block system at its core that is not too dissimilar from other building block systems that you may have seen. You've got your outie parts and your innie parts, and they interconnect like so. And they can go in multiple different angles. You can kind of put them diagonally if you want, but most of the time they're kind of going straight like this. Now, when you do get them in locked in there pretty tight, we do have our handy dandy kind of separator tool to make it a little easier to get them separated without damaging anything. And from here, we can create all kinds of different systems and affix different parts and deck plating and things like that, and wings and all sorts of like wings like so. Right, and they can go on the sides, and this is kind of how we build ships, although I'm not following the exact procedure here, but that is the gist of it, how it works. And then, of course, your bases can then go into the bottom, and then you can fly them around. And, of course, all of these pieces have upgrade cards that go along with each piece. So that's effectively how we do it. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so our Scorpion is now put together, and there's a lot of really cool detail to this. If you've ever seen this ship before, you'll probably recognize some of the new paint applications, extra detail on these pieces back here. By the way, these are drop pods, which are really cool. Now you can kind of move them around and swivel them a little bit to your liking. Endless customization with these, but also these panels on the back here, you'll notice aren't fully flush, because if you push them down, then it does release. Oh, looks like my thumb is on the drop pod. If you push them down, it releases the drop pods. And these are also cool because if you open them up, there are little dudes inside. You have your little invasion force, and they're like, "I will find your brains and eat them." That's what, I don't think that's what they say. But that's what my guys say. They're on a search expedition for brains because they have to find the brains first and then eat them. But we have all kinds of extra bits in here. We've got these awesome like mobile mantis arms underneath, and each of these are different pieces that allows them all to kind of move together. We've got undermount guns, we've got moving wings, we've got swivel turret guns here, movable wings on top too. All of these really groovy pieces to this one. We'll put it on the stand, and again, we have multiple spots underneath here, so we're going to we're going to be able to get our stand bridge and link our two bases together and put it on there just like so. And in this case, because it's got the longer back, and I'll put my drop pods back on here in just a second, because we can kind of build it closer to the front, so this way the back can extend over the back, so it kind of fits the profile. And to give you a sense of scale of how much bigger these are, we have, we've got some of the small, the little drones and regular sized ships here that I had to put together. Let me move them out of the way a little bit, but you can see they're more than twice as large as a regular ship. And the two stands don't necessarily tell the whole story, but they're massively huge, and it's a beautiful sight to behold. But I'd also like to show you some of the cards that go along with these two ships. So normally in Snapships Tactics, you have a ship card, not too dissimilar from this. And it's got your parts options down here, hull value, all of your passives. You've got a few little differences. Like for a difference that you might notice is that you have a little number in here next to your evasion. This represents the maximum evasion. So these large battleships, they can't necessarily go all the way up to 6 evasion. They're not that nimble, so they have sort of a cap there. So there's different things like that you're going to notice with these. But the biggest thing that you'll notice is that there's a second one here. And the beauty of this is that it bridges the whole ship together. And each of these is going to activate independently of one another. Again, if and the cool thing about this is if I've got weapons on the back, guess what? They fire from the back. They don't fire from the front. They don't use the front's arc. They use the back's arc. They're same thing with the back. Now, if you're attacking this ship, if you're shooting at it, you have to pick a section that you're shooting at. And it is possible for like maybe one section to be, inside an obstacle, and maybe benefit from that, whereas the other section doesn't, right? But also, if you roll critical hits and score damage on parts, you can't shoot the front and then score damage on a part that's on the back, and vice versa. So it's cool how it's almost like it's two separate ships that just move together, and they each have their own activation, and they have the added benefit of being able to contribute each other, whether it comes to like venting heat and things like that, and supporting the other half of the ship, but also having a shared hull. We also have some cool cards here for this one. But there's also different ship cards too, right? We've got the Scorpion Claw Battle Cruiser, right? And we've also got the Scorpion Claw Freighter, right? Which, again, very, very cool options for both of these. So I'm a big fan of the design. We've got some cool upgrades that we're going to look at here too. So a lot of cool stuff that you can get with this set. Again, these are all very early prototype cards, so you might see maybe a minor change from the final product. You never, prototypes are always subject to change, but I just like to point that out just in case. We've got our wings here, right? And I love the idea of being able to take the wings and move from either the back or the front, allowing you some extra maneuverability and options. I think it's a very cool system, and can allow especially ships like this that might want to kind of swing into you and ram you and do extra damage. That would be a super fun situation, right? So we've got all kinds of really cool cards here to showcase, but we also have a whole nother ship to look at. So we've got our Trident ST-33 gunship here. And again, we also have different build variants for these. And the cool thing is the build variants just kind of give you an idea of the way the core of the body should work. And then, of course, you have a preset build on those as well. But you can customize them in all sorts of ways. You can really have a lot of fun with this one. We have our DT-07 interdictor and the Enforcer here as well. I just think it'd be really cool to mix and match and do all kinds of cool stuff like that. I don't know. I'm looking forward to really kind of opening up with these guys, but really trying them out and seeing what they can do. And we've got all kinds of cool updates and upgrades here. We've got our cockpit, and this is nice because I've seen this ship or at least the previous version of this ship before. It's always cool looking at at the ships from Snapships when they eventually come to Snapships Tactics and seeing how they've been envisioned in this format. And there's more coming too. There's so much, and I know that they have a lot more really cool designs in store, and there's a lot more as the Kickstarter gets closer. We'll be talking about more. So if you do like what you're seeing here, love for you to stick around because we have so many previews and so many things to try out. It's a super fun time. That's an absolute fact. But all of these new pieces, a lot of really cool stuff. And we are going to show you maybe one of my favorite parts. We're going to show you maybe one of my favorite parts. As we were looking at all of these upgrades, we didn't talk about docking because we also have two little drones, little ST-33 strike drones. What are the strike drones? Dude, they actually deploy from this ship. Yes, they actually deploy. So the Trident actually has these on the back, right? And so they can kind of come down. And I love the design of the ship itself, in addition to what it can do, because it becomes this whole drone thing, right? Like, I love this. And you can even move them. You can look at that. And you can pop this piece out, right? And you can just fly it around and be like, this is my drone now, boom. And then and there's a whole rules reference for docked ship activations. You can stay docked and vent the carrier. You can repair, or you can deploy, right? Which is so, and you can collide with the carrier to dock again. And you can go out, go do your blam 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 or buzz buzz buzz, right? And do all of that. And then you're shooting me, and go home to mama, and then get off of this thing, fold those wings back up, and you don't have to make the sound effects, but I promise you I'm making those sound effects every time, and then we're gonna go back on. All right, so that was a look at these beautiful ships, the Trident and the Scorpion, and this is just a really cool preview of the new battleships that you're going to get in Snapships Tactics. If you want to really take your game to the next level and have bigger, badder battles, this is the most fun you can have with blocks and starships. And I mean, it looks absolutely fantastic. Can't wait to get it to the game table and roll some dice and see if we can just completely obliterate some smaller ships. It's going to be a lot of fun. Stick around if you want to see more. We've got more coming. It's going to be really exciting. Big thanks to Snapships Tactics for sponsoring this video. Big thanks to my patrons. You guys are absolutely amazing and help make this whole channel possible. To everybody else, thank you so much. I will talk to you later. May the force be with you. Live long and prosper. Be excellent to each other. Party on, dudes. So say we all. And always wash your socks.